Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a new, fresh, ripe episode of Real Business Roundtable. Shout out to Powdered Toast Man and shout out to today's non-sponsor once again is the wonderful Reed's Ginger Beer. Reed's Ginger Beer. If you want a taste of the cool, crisp, warm tropics, the Caribbean, you can always trust in Reed's Ginger Beer, a taste of the islands, fresh, crisp, and refreshing. Now, today's episode is called Prospecting 101. What are we talking about? We are talking about how to generate new customers in a variety of ways. One of the main keys that people need to pay attention to is when you are prospecting, like you're digging for gold. You got to understand when you're panning that gold and you're looking and you're digging in that dirt and that water, there's going to be about 0.5% of actual gold, which means when you are prospecting, it isn't always a sale or a deal on a silver platter. You need to understand this. You need to do some work, you need to do some digging, you need to do some nurturing. In order to find those pieces of gold, there is going to be a lot of excrement. Gold, excrement. Typically, you should be working with maybe a 10% conversion rate, sometimes higher, depending on your prospecting methodology. Yakub, what do you have to tell us today about prospecting? Yakub Sabush
I need
is in the
literally
house.
2 seconds. I just got off a fucking
He was on the phone
call
with the
bank. I need just a minute to get my thoughts.
Good.
I've been getting a lot of people have been asking me questions about, if you're working with a company who doesn't give you the resources, okay, they're scheduling meetings for you. You're in sales, and the company isn't scheduling meetings in your calendar. They're not they're not doing the lead gen for you, right? How do you prospect?
Or putting it through the right filters. If you're talking to the wrong customer that can't afford your services, it's like you're spinning your fucking wheels. You're prospecting incorrectly.
Yeah, well, the thing is, from the ground zero, let's say someone starts their own service, business, and they want to prospect, they want to get the lists together, they want to know how to reach out to people and stuff like that. I want to talk about the system and how to curate those leads in a way. So, just first and foremost, I've had the most success from literally finding an industry in a certain area, let's say roofing for, sake of being, simple. And I'll say roofers in this area, roofers in this area, roofers in this area. And I literally get the name of the company, the name of the owner. You can find the name of the owner in the reviews sometimes or on the website, whatever it may be. You can find it somewhere, somehow. The phone number, whatever. You call them and you get in there. There's ways where you can find the contact information in order to reach out to the owner or the person who heads up whatever you're trying to push, whatever you're trying to sell. Just the most basic form of lead generation that I feel like I've had the most success with is just simply going on Google Maps. You search up, masonry company, fence company. You search up salon, medical skin clinic near me or in this area. And then you go and you click the drop down bar on the Google Maps. There you go. They're all right there. You can see the amount of reviews, which, by the way, can tell you right around where they are annually. You can see, where they're located. The phone number's right there. The website's right there. Everything you need as a prospector, as a business development person, as a salesperson, everything you need is right there in their business, my business page, whatever, Google My Business, whatever it's called. So what I would do is I would go there. I'd make a list of all the people in this area and I'd put it on an Excel sheet or on a notebook and I'd say, no, yes, depending on how they responded. Now, what you say to them when you call them is on a different episode. You can go and find it. We're not going to talk about that today. It's just about facilitating the people to prospect and how to prospect. There you go. Now on to Andrew.
When you, my parents call me Andrew. So when you are providing a product or service, you have to identify who could use this product or service. That's the first thing, right? Then you need to take your price point and fit it. I'm not going to say butt cheeks. You have to fit it into that market. Now, what does it mean by fit it? It means, can they afford your product or service? Do not speak to the wrong market. So in our industry for growth consulting, we have usually a sweet spot minimum of doing $1 million annually. What does that mean? That means if your small business does $1 million of gross revenue, $1 million of gross revenue, that means that you likely can afford to grow. I would say in an emergency, bare minimum, $700,000. Because based on certain formulas and calculations, and I'm talking about our industry, if the person does less than that, it makes it more and more difficult for them to be able to afford to invest in growth. Comfortably. Now, sometimes small business owners have money put aside, and they're like, no, take it easy. I live in this Caribbean shack made out of straw, but I have a nest egg. You never know, because I've met with people and they're talking big numbers and they want to hit millions of dollars in sales, and it doesn't seem like that's the case. So you can't always judge. You got to just double check with them to see if they can afford to grow at the rate that they want. But in any business, product or service, you're going to sell that product or service to a specific section of the marketplace. When you are prospecting and you're digging and you're sifting and you're trying to find the gold meaning a sale, that means you have to figure out, okay, who would likely be my perfect customer where buying my product or service would not be such a big deal? It wouldn't be an act of Congress. It wouldn't sting so much. In order to identify that, let's say it's a B2B business. You'll identify, okay, this business needs to do this much revenue, or this business needs to be, let's say you're a window washer. This business has to have a retail client-facing location that customers can walk in and out, right? Okay, these businesses likely can afford my window washing. But if you're talking about, let's say, fractional CFO services, that's going to be a little bit of a higher ticket item, and that person has to have a type of business that would require a CFO, and you pitch it like, hey, this would save you 75% on actually hiring a full-time CFO.
Yeah, they'd have to be doing at least like $7, $8, $9, $10 million. Yeah.
Actually, so if someone's doing that much, they could probably afford a full-time CFO.
You're right. No, you're right. I was thinking, yeah, okay.
Every opportunity to learn, every day is a new opportunity. So if fractional CFO versus a full-time CFO is going to get $250,000, $300,000.
Fractional CFO would be good for startups.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are technically, I just want to make a quick stop. I just noticed because we have some screens and I'm slowly turning into my father.
Yes.
I'm doing the fucking lip wiggle that he does, and I catch it on camera, and it makes me insane. Before my dad says anything significant, he does this thing. He goes,
no, you do it too. You've
I
been
do
doing
it
it forever,
too.
bro.
Why?
Bro, it's so funny when you're on the phone with someone and you're waiting to say something.
My
You
dad
go like
does
this.
that.
You go like this.
I just like,
I'm
I don't know.
looking at him like, bro, just take a breath.
I catch it, and I go, wait, you just tripped me up. You just tripped up my wiring. Hold on. Okay. So like we're technically a fractional digital agency. So instead of hiring a full staff of people and paying $50,000, $60,000 in weekly payroll, you can get it all done for a fraction of that because we're fractional digital marketing department, whatever you want to call it. So let's say you're selling to consumers. So we talked about B2B. If you're selling to consumers, take the price of your product or service and figure out what is the average that person would pay for that item. Now, how do you do that? You got to dig and look at some competition. You got to see what they're charging. What are they asking? What is the market demand and what is the market value? What are people paying for this product or service? You got to make sure when you are prospecting that you price yourself strategically. Don't just price yourself loosely, willy-nilly, and just, oh yeah, I'm going to take a number out of my head. Make sure that it is doable and it's not ridiculous. There is a caveat. If you do make yourself into a luxury product, your market is going to be smaller. So when prospecting, you got to understand if your product is your price is really high, you're dealing with a smaller market. Same thing with luxury goods. You're dealing with a smaller market. Not everybody can spend $3,000 on a purse or $1,200 on a t-shirt, other than Yakub.
I don't even know where that came from.
Expensive t-shirts you wear, bro.
Yeah. Back to prospecting. So when you're prospecting and you have, the one thing that I noticed when I first started was that you could lose track of where you're at very quickly unless you have a system. So like being organized is very important, and the best way to be organized in a free way, I think, is by utilizing Google Calendar.
Yes.
Now, getting a CRM and all that stuff, to me, I think CRMs can be convoluted sometimes. I don't have, because I'm so used to using such a simple, UI and such a simple, color coded processing, whatever, that the CRMs just are too much if you're doing just prospecting. Now, if it's a team, right, and you have salespeople and you're a company and all this stuff and you're growing, CRM is very important. But just for the prospecting aspect, having a list, you hit those people every single time. You use scripts that we've mentioned before to get you in the door. You take the one that says, oh yeah, sure, I'll listen to more, and you put it onto your Google Calendar, color-coded light blue, that says draft, name of business.
Yep.
Then you keep going with the color-coded. The next color code is
yellow for close.
Or sometimes I use pink or orange for needs work or whatever, So nurture, that's another one that I have, is nurture. So it's like, it's very easy, and that system is so simple. That is an easy way. You go right in your calendar and you see on the top, you click all day and it says, close this, close that, draft this, draft that. You click them, good, move them to the next day. It's the easiest way to do it, and it's free.
And when you open up your calendar, I really love Google Calendar for prospecting because we color code things and we know right away, if I see yellow, that means I need to wrap up an agreement, get them to sign on. We've done all the stages required for someone to come on as a client. Mm-hmm. But if it's a dark green, that means I have a meeting, right? That's a first initial meeting. If I have a second meeting, I put the word second, still green. If it's a call, it's light green, and yellow means it's ready to close. I feel like it would be amazing if Google integrated some form of like CRM-esque thing connected to Google Calendar where it was on Google. Everything was on Google. That would be cool.
But the thing is you can integrate your Google Calendar with other CRMs. I see what you're saying though, because I like consolidation. I like everything to be in one place. Now it makes you think, what about a business phone with Google that's connected to the Google Calendar, that Google has this CRM that they integrated? It's all in one kind of encompassing platform, which would be interesting, but they're not a CRM platform.
And when you're choosing what consumers or businesses to try to sell to, you need to create a target demographic.
Yeah.
Demographic. What is that? Let's say for businesses, annual revenue, employee size. So say you're selling software and you want to get a bunch of licenses sold. Well, that license is going to cover, multiple licenses are going to cover those employees within that job description. So say you're selling some kind of like financial software, and you know that this company has 30 financial executives that work for them where they could all collectively use this software. You want to sell those 30 licenses. Another thing to look at, if you're selling to consumers, the demographic would be, what is their income? Okay, what are their hobbies? What are their interests? What do they do? Are they into nutrition? Are they into supplements? Like I am into nutrition and supplements, and I get targeted with ads all the time for new supplements, protein powders, creatine, the whole nine. I'm in that demographic. You have to also make sure that the demographic that you choose this is super important, can afford your product. In supplements, they say a product that is under $49 or under $50 sells more than a product that's above $50. There's something about that $50 number where people don't make such a big deal out of it. But if we're talking about, is it called Alpha Brain? Mm-hmm. Alpha Brain is a great product, not a sponsor. But Alpha Brain is a little pricey. It's the type of supplement that they keep behind the counter. It works. It's a blend of mushrooms and it's a blend of all these different herbs and stuff to keep your brain performing at the highest level. But that is a good example of a supplement that's a little pricey. So that market is going to be smaller.
You also want to look at your business and what you've done. If you have testimonials that primarily come from a certain industry in an area, you want to hit that industry more aggressively because you have testimonials that they can look at and relate to. So that's another big thing is like if you have a product that could be used by a lot of different people, where are your testimonials coming from, right? Who is using it currently that likes it, right? You know, what industry can you target that is commonly using it or seeing the most value out of it, right? Because there's, realtors aren't going to see it the same way as a restaurant does, right? So it's like there's going to be certain niches and certain, markets that you can target to that are going to be more, opportunity bearing. But, you got to also look into what industries have had success with it because you can use that to promote the value.
Yeah, another thing that small business owners need to think about is your product or service a necessity or is it a luxury? Is it something that somebody needs? I want the word needs. I want the word. Hold on.
Is it something that somebody...
Utility.
I want somebody.
What was it?
What?
What was yours?
Somebody. In all sparkling gold letters.
Do they need it? Okay, if they need it and it's a requirement in today's world, you are set up for success because it is a requirement, like a roof over your head or saving money on your power bill with solar. Okay, people need to save money, or most people want to save money. So that market is huge, right? Make sure when you are prospecting, you identify all these things and you'll be set up for success.
Thank you so much for joining us today on Real Business Roundtable. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please like and subscribe, turn on posts, get you notified on posts and episode. Peace out.